The mission. The stars outside the diplomatic station shimmered like frozen sparks, indifferent to the tension building within its gleaming, sterile walls. Ambassador Valari N'shai stood alone before the observation pane, her violet skin catching the starlight like polished amethyst. Her beauty was otherworldly by design. The Arvellan Empire had engineered her for this exact role. Seductive, calculating, and persuasive beyond reason. Her silver diplomat's robe flowed around her like liquid metal, every fold tailored to influence the observer's subconscious. Her voice, when she spoke, could stop arguments mid-sentence. Her scent was a blend of pheromones, scientifically proven to lower resistance in nearly every known species. And yet, none of that had worked on the human. Commander Adam Reeve, she muttered, almost tasting the name. Earth's representative had been a wild card from the moment humanity joined the Galactic Assembly. While most races bent toward subtle influence and rigid hierarchy, humans leaned into chaos, creativity, and sheer audacity. Reeve was the worst of them, direct, stubborn, and frustratingly unimpressed by her efforts. She thought back to their first encounter, 3 days prior. She had extended every Arvellan gesture of charm. Touch on the wrist, soft tonal greetings, exposed neck. He had nodded politely and moved the conversation to border security and trade deficits. He had smiled when she tried to distract him with compliments. "Ma'am, if that's your best attempt at flattery, I'm both honored and unimpressed," he had said, sipping his black earth beverage. Coffee, they called it. It had been decades since a male of any species had resisted her. Arvellans didn't take offense. They learned, adjusted, conquered through understanding. But something about Adam Reeve couldn't be adjusted. Her assistant, a wiry Arvellan named Thal, stepped into the chamber, datapad in hand. "Ambassador, the High Matron awaits your update." Valari sighed. She will not be pleased. She expects results. We all do. She turned. "Do you believe I'm failing?" Thal hesitated. "I believe humans are uniquely resistant to external control. They evolve with chaos as an ally, not an enemy. That's difficult to predict." Valari dismissed him with a wave. "Prepare the negotiation suite. I want him comfortable, but not in control." When Adam Reeve arrived an hour later, he came alone. No guards, no aides. Just a leather jacket, dark boots, and that same unshakable calm. "Ambassador N'shai," he said with a polite nod. "Shall we talk business?" She offered a soft smile. "Let's talk understanding." She served him a drink, sweetened Arbix nectar, laced with suggestive stimulants, approved by Galactic Council ethics laws, of course. He took one sip, grimaced, and set it aside. "I'll stick to coffee." She studied him. His body was unremarkable by Arvellan standards, broad, weathered, with the hardened grace of a soldier. But his eyes, those sharp, gray eyes, cut through deception like blades. "You do not trust me," she said. "I don't trust anyone sent here to charm Earth into submission. Is that what you think I'm doing? I think you were sent with a mission, just like me. And I think you're very good at pretending it's all diplomacy when it's really just chess." Valari tilted her head. "And you play chess?" He smiled. "Better than you think." Hours passed. Instead of seduction, they exchanged philosophies. She explained Arvellan societal engineering, generational loyalty, and the supremacy of collective will. He countered with Earth's messy history. Wars, rebellions, dreams sparked in broken places. "We are made to be perfect," she said. "And we're made to break," he replied. By the end of the meeting, her tactics were useless. He had never once lost composure. Yet, she found herself lingering as he rose to leave. "Commander," she said, standing, "do you ever let your guard down?" He looked at her, unreadable. "Only with people I trust." "And do you trust me?" He paused, then smiled. "Not yet, but you're growing on me." After he left, Valari stood for a long time, hands clasped before her. She had failed to manipulate him. But more disturbingly, she didn't mind. Not manipulation, not conquest, curiosity, and beneath that something else. A pulse of warmth in her chest, unfamiliar and dangerous. Uncharted territory. The scent of old paper and brewed coffee filled the room. two things Valari had never experienced before Earth joined the Galactic Assembly. She had insisted on hosting their next meeting in the Earth Cultural Exchange Lounge, a quiet, dome-shaped chamber filled with human artifacts and faux wooden furniture. Adam Reeve was already there when she arrived, reading a leather-bound book titled The Art of War. No data pads, no neural feeds, just ink on paper. Do humans always cling to obsolete formats? She asked, easing into the seat across from him. Only the good ones, he said without looking up. Valari crossed her legs, feeling the silky fabric of her robe shift. Today, she wore soft turquoise instead of silver. Less commanding, more open, not a tactic, a decision. You're not what I expected of a species barely a century into galactic contact, she admitted. He set the book down. And you're not what I expected from a race that calls themselves perfected. That stung more than it should have. Instead of launching into one of her pre-scripted persuasion modules, she changed direction. Do you ever miss Earth? He blinked. All the time. The noise. The mess. The weather. Nothing here smells like rain. Valari had studied Earth weather. Chaos again. Unpredictable skies and violent storms. Her people avoided such instability. I've never seen rain, she murmured. Adam tilted his head. We've got a simulation on Deck 9. I'll show you sometime. Is that an invitation? Only if you're done trying to hypnotize me. She laughed. A genuine laugh. It startled even her. The following days blurred together. Officially, she and Adam were engaged in ongoing negotiations, and that was true. On paper. But in practice, their interactions began to wander. They played chess, her crystalline Arvellan board against his clunky wooden set. She taught him to read memory lattice poetry. He taught her Earth's chaotic music, starting with something called blues. He was impossible, infuriating. He interrupted her. He disagreed with her. He argued like a philosopher and fought like a soldier. And he never once tried to impress her, which made him more fascinating than any creature she had ever met. One night, Valari returned to her quarters after an unusually long conversation about mortality. Adam had explained humanity's obsession with legacy, why humans wrote books, painted, had children. She had listened, trying to understand. The Arvellans didn't fear death. Their names were preserved in archives, their genetic lines controlled. Legacy was managed, not felt. But humans lived as if each heartbeat could be the last. Alone, Valari studied herself in the mirror. For the first time, her reflection felt alien. Her eyes were still violet, her skin smooth and unmarred. But there was a flicker behind her gaze now. Not calculation, not strategy. Longing. It happened the next night. Neither of them planned it. There was no manipulation, no seduction. Just silence, broken by soft laughter and stories of loss. A spilled drink. A hand brushing another. Then lips. Their kiss wasn't perfect. It was clumsy and full of hesitation. Her kind never kissed. But when Adam pulled her closer, she didn't resist. She leaned in, surrendering not to a mission, but to something dangerously real. They spent the night together, not as diplomat and soldier, but as two lonely beings who had spent too long hiding behind uniforms and orders. She left before sunrise. Back in her quarters, Valari pressed her back against the door and slid to the floor, breathing hard. She had broken protocol, broken her oath. The mission had become secondary, forgotten. That wasn't part of the mission, she whispered aloud. She didn't know what she expected to feel. Regret? Shame? Instead, she felt human. Later that afternoon, as she prepared for a council update, a sharp pain bloomed in her abdomen. Not sharp like a wound, but wrong. Internal. Alive. Thal, she called out. Her assistant rushed in. Ambassador, I need a full body scan. Now. Thal obeyed. As the scanner passed over her body, the room fell silent. Lights blinked. The machine chimed. Thal's face drained of color. What is it? She demanded. Ambassador, he swallowed. You're pregnant. Silence. Valari stared at him, unblinking. That's impossible, she whispered. I'm sterile. All diplomats are. Thal stepped back, trembling. Not anymore. Scandal at the assembly. The news detonated through the Galactic Assembly like a star collapsing in on itself. A diplomat, pregnant, with a human's child. Ambassador Valari N'shai, poster child of Arvellan perfection, had committed the ultimate breach, unauthorized hybrid conception. Worse, it wasn't a lab-generated embryo. It was natural, untested, wild. The Arvellan High matron's voice came through the secure hololink, like a shard of ice. You have dishonored the genetic trust of your bloodline, Ambassador. We will extract the child and cleanse the anomaly. You will return to Arvella immediately. Valari stood stiffly, still weak from the scan, arms crossed protectively over her abdomen. You mean terminate? This pregnancy is a breach of treaty and biosecurity law, the matron hissed. Do not twist it into a sentimental indulgence. She cut the connection. Thal, normally expressionless, stared at her with something close to pity. They will never allow it to live. Not as it is. Valari looked out the window at the curve of Earth below. Her body still felt foreign, heavy, warmer than it should be. And yet alive. More than ever before. Adam didn't take it well. You're pregnant? He asked again, as if repetition would make the truth settle easier. Yes. With my kid. Yes, Adam. Silence hung between them, crackling with disbelief. She added quietly, I didn't plan it. I didn't even know it was possible. Adam paced the room, hands on his hips. I didn't sign up for this. I came here to stop a trade war, not this. She nodded. I understand. He stopped pacing. And they want to take it. They won't let it exist, she said flatly. It's too unpredictable. Adam exhaled slowly, then looked up. Then we don't give them the chance. Within hours, he had arranged a covert evacuation through Lieutenant Sarah Kwan, a rogue Earth fleet pilot with a grudge against the Assembly. She owed Adam her life from a skirmish over Europa. She didn't ask questions. They boarded her stealth vessel under false identities. Valari wore a cloak and dark glasses. Adam carried a bag of neural inhibitors, in case the Arvellans tried tracking her through MindLink. Destination, IO Station 7, an abandoned mining colony turned refugee outpost, far from Assembly surveillance grids. During the jump, Valari rested in the medbay. Her vitals fluctuated strangely. Human pregnancies weren't designed for Arvellan physiology, or vice versa. Adam sat beside her, quietly watching. I didn't mean to ruin your life, she whispered. You didn't, he replied. Just detonated it. Her lips twitched into a weak smile. IO Station was a rusted labyrinth carved in a frozen rock, shielded by ice storms and static fields. It smelled of metal, sweat, and old secrets. Perfect for hiding. Kwan dropped them at Dock 6 and vanished. For 3 days, Valari and Adam lived in an abandoned observation dome overlooking Jupiter's endless clouds. She adjusted slowly to the gravity, to hunger, to dreams Arvellans didn't dream. But now she did. Of warmth, of light, of crying. The baby grew faster than expected. You're changing, Adam said one night as she stared into the storm. I feel everything now, she murmured. It's terrifying. He looked at her. We're born terrified. We just keep walking anyway. Then the Arvellans found them. A flagship arrived in orbit without warning. Its sleek black hull shimmered with ancestral symbols, an unspoken threat. Valari froze as a message burned through every frequency. Ambassador N'shai, surrender the hybrid, or we destroy the station. Panic erupted across Io. Refugees scattered. Power grids flickered. Valari's stomach churned, not from fear, but fury. The child inside her kicked for the first time. She gasped. They won't stop, she said. Even if I run again, they'll follow until it's dead. Adam clenched his fists. Then we stopped running. He called in every favor Earth's black ops owed him. Pirate captains, outlawed engineers, ex-Marines. Within hours, a small but savage resistance formed around the station. We fight dirty, Adam told them. We don't need to win. We just need them to lose. Valari stood beside him, no longer hiding, no longer trembling. She placed her hand over her stomach. You came for me as a tool, she whispered to the void. Now you'll see what happens when you make a mother your enemy. Humanity fights back. The warship above Io cast a long, crescent shadow over the ice fields, silent, monolithic, and ready to strike. Inside the fractured mining station below, Adam Reeve stood at the center of a makeshift command room, surrounded by blinking consoles, salvage drones, and half-broken hollow displays. Outside the reinforced window, Jupiter loomed like a god watching the chaos unfold. "You really think this is going to work?" asked Sarah Kwan, chewing a nutrient bar as she calibrated a drone swarm. "No," Adam said flatly, "but it's the best terrible plan we've got." Around him stood a ragtag force, retired soldiers, defectors, mercenary engineers, and alien outcasts who owed no loyalty to the Galactic Assembly. They were fewer, under-equipped, and outgunned. But they were human, and humans didn't kneel easily. Valari watched the preparations from a high catwalk, a hand resting over the subtle swell of her abdomen. Each day, the child inside her pulsed stronger. Her senses sharpened. Her emotions, once flattened by Arvellan engineering, now ran like untamed rivers. She was not who she had been. Not diplomat. Not weapon. Mother. The ultimatum came at dawn, transmitted in perfect Arvellan enunciation. "Surrender the hybrid, or IO station will be purged." Valari stepped forward before Adam could answer. "I will speak to them." She activated a long-range broadcast and stood in the center of the chamber, eyes closed, heart racing. Then she opened them, and the galaxy watched. Transmission broadcast. "Live to Galactic Assembly. This is Ambassador Valari N'shai. You engineered me to be flawless, to seduce, to manipulate, to win without war. But you made one critical error. You thought perfection meant obedience. You made me incapable of choice. And yet, I chose. This child, my child, is not a weapon, not a mistake. He is possibility, not just human or Arvellan. Something new, something dangerous to empires built on fear. You will not touch him. You will not cage him. And if you try, then let this moment mark your fall." She ended the transmission. The silence afterward was deafening. Minutes later, the Arvellan flagship launched its first strike, but it never reached the surface. Adam had predicted the attack path. Their defense systems, cobbled together from mining lasers and hacked satellite cores, intercepted the plasma burst mid-air. The resulting explosion cracked the ice fields, but left the station intact. "Hit them back," he roared. Sarah launched the drone swarm. Hundreds of metallic insects zipped into orbit, weaving between the Arvellan gunships, deploying EMP bursts, and scrambling the enemy's targeting systems. Valari moved to the shield core, amplifying power with neural feedback. The station trembled under her control, her mind linked directly to its fragile systems. The baby inside her stirred again, this time with a pulse of energy that surged through her spine and into the station's core. A flicker of light erupted from the shield emitters, then expanded outward like a shockwave. Adam staggered. What the hell was that? Thal's voice crackled over comms. It disrupted their fleet AI. That wasn't a defense system. That came from her. Valari collapsed her knees, gasping. "It's not just me," she whispered. "He's helping." In orbit, the Arvellan flagship faltered. Their sensors glitched. Engines stalled. The commander ordered a retreat, but the drone swarm boxed them in. Sarah's ship delivered the final blow, a controlled detonation in their underbelly that disabled their propulsion core. The Arvellans fled. The battle was over. The aftermath was swift and loud. The broadcast had gone viral across assembly space. News feeds ran with titles like, "Arvellan Diplomat Defies Empire. Mother of Hybrid Sparks Galactic Debate. Human DNA. A New Threat or the Future of the Stars. What is the IO child?" The High Matron was silenced by internal protest. Other Arvellan diplomats began breaking rank. The council called for emergency reforms. Valari was officially exiled, her lineage erased from the archives. Earth recalled Adam for debriefing and tried to separate him from the child. He refused. 6 months later, on a quiet farm on Mars' Greenbelt, Adam sat on a porch beside Valari, holding their infant son. The boy had eyes like storm clouds and skin that shimmered faintly under starlight. He giggled, unaware that he had shifted the fate of empires before he could even speak. Valari leaned against Adam's shoulder. What should we name him? Adam thought for a moment. Kai said, it means forgiveness in an old Earth tongue. She smiled. Fitting. He is the first of his kind. No, Adam said, cradling the boy in his arms. He's the future of all kinds.